If you've watched my videos for a while, you may know that I will occasionally say one very specific sentence. Please sponsor me. Please sponsor me. Please sponsor me. Please sponsor me. Well, I guess there must be some unknown science behind that process, because even though this isn't exactly a sponsorship, I recently received an offer from the folks at Parblo to review one of their drawing tablets. Which makes this my first tablet review. Yay! Established in 2015, Parblo, named after legendary painter Pablo Picasso, is a business that specializes in digital tablets and digital monitors. They have a number of tablets and accessories for sale, including 2 artist gloves and several tablet stand models, which I thought was pretty cool. But I'm not reviewing those. Today I am testing out one of their drawing tablets, the Intangbo X7. The Intangbo X7 is one of their smaller models, measuring at 7.2 inches by 4.5 inches, or 18.3 centimeters by about 11.5 centimeters. It has a sensing height of 10 millimeters and 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity. It's compatible with Windows 7, 8, and 10, along with Mac OS 10.12 and above, Android 6.0 and above, Chrome OS 88 and above, and Harmony OS 1.0 and above. The model also comes in 3 colors: black, pink, and green. Prior to this, I've only ever seen tablets in black, so I was very pleasantly surprised to see that Parblo offers their tablets in different colors. And I think it's just a great way to stand out from the crowd. Now, before I go into the review itself, I want to preface this by saying, even though this is technically a sponsored video, and I'm genuinely very grateful for the opportunity, all opinions are my own. But if you're new here and you want to know if this tablet may be right for you, then make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, then welcome back to the spaghetti layer. Either way, yeah, let's get to the review. So let's start with the unboxing. As soon as I opened up the box it came shipped in, I immediately fell in love with the packaging, and especially the little artwork that comes with the box. I don't think I've ever seen a drawing tablet packaged quite like this, and I think it's another excellent way to set yourself apart marketing-wise. The actual box gives you an idea of what the model looks like and provides some important details like the pressure levels, tilt function, reading rate, and Android support. The back provides some additional information along with package contents, required systems, and a link to Parblo's customer service. The first thing you'll see once you open the box and remove the protective sponge thingy is the tablet itself. The green variation of the tablet is more of a seafoam green, and I personally feel like it's very easy on the eyes. The tablet's work surface has a very tactile feel to it, almost like touching a polished stone in a way. In fact, I actually spent a few moments comparing the surface of the Intangbo X7 with my red jasper specimen, and they were very similar in texture. At least for me anyway. I'm sorry for the random comparison, I just like rocks. You can also see that it has 5 shortcut keys which can all be modified according to your liking, along with a little dial up top so you can calibrate the tablet to work with your phone, tablet pad, Chromebook, or PC. The tablet also comes with a little touch wheel on the side, and... oh my gosh, it spins. Moving on to the rest of the contents, the box comes with a double-sided manual written in both Chinese and English, offering step-by-step instructions on how to get the tablet to work for your computer and for your Android phone or tablet if you have one. Right away though, I did notice that one part of the second step for setting the tablet up on the computer was that you would have to uninstall your drivers for any other tablet brand that was on your computer beforehand. Honestly, that was very interesting to me. The manual says this is an important step in getting the Intangbo X7 to work on the computer, but I would personally encourage Parblo to find a way to streamline the installation process so it won't be unnecessary to install other tablet drivers, as it's a step that can make things kinda complicated. The same goes for the part where it says to disable all antivirus software while installing the driver. Please rest assured though, the driver is not a virus, I promise. But besides that. The box also comes with a set of some cool stickers, including one of the Parblo logo. Something tells me I'm going to have a lot of fun with these. We also have a white microfiber cloth, which is something that I find very useful already, since I use them to clean my blue light glasses. And I also use them to clean my tablet when necessary. Because, honestly, I'd be hard-pressed to find someone who wants to have tomato sauce spaghetti grease on their tablet. You also get one of their drawing gloves, specifically the PRO1, which fits snugly on my hand when I put it on. And the material was also very comfortable. Next you have the warranty and the quick start guide. I won't say much about these two because they're exactly what they say on the tin, but I would suggest that you don't lose these. Then we have a small bag of replacement nibs and a little connector cable thing that will allow you to connect your tablet to your computer or phone or whatever you choose to work with. I love that it has a braided covering to prevent the wires underneath from getting exposed, as that has happened to me with a couple of phone chargers in the past that didn't have this kind of wire cover. Then you have the USB-C adapter, which, if you have a MacBook Pro like I do, you will absolutely need. And last but absolutely not least, we have the pen and the little pen case that comes with it. It has this sort of faux leather feel to it, and you can see it comes with a place to store the pen, along with a little pocket in the back that I use to store my extra nibs. But as it turns out, that's not the only place where you can store them. Let's now take a closer look at the pen. Behold! The pen is the same green as the tablet, and it's certainly unique in the placement of the Parblo logo. And I also want to point out that there's a little gadget to replace your nibs that can fit on the pen, but I still need to figure out how to remove it from the pen. But speaking of nibs, I think the best part of the pen is that you can unscrew the top to reveal a storage case for up to 3 extra nibs. Not gonna lie, this is probably one of my favorite aspects of the product as a whole, and it's also a genius way to keep your nibs from getting lost. But all in all, the Intangbo X7 comes with an impressive amount of accessories for its value, and going on first impressions, it has a lot going for it in terms of design and functionality. So, with all of that out of the way, how does this tablet perform? Well, before I talk about the Intangbo X7's performance, there's several steps you'll need to get out of the way in order to get the driver running and have the tablet be fully functional. I want to be transparent in mentioning that I really struggled with getting the driver to work, so it's also for that reason that I want to provide a quick guide specifically for my fellow Mac users on how to circumvent any roadblocks and save yourself from an hour's worth of headaches. To install the drivers, the quick guide will tell you to go to support.parblo.com. From there, you'll see the Download Drivers button. Once you click on it, you will see that the individual drivers are divided into separate categories for Android, Windows, and Mac. Make sure you select the appropriate driver for the type of computer you use, because honestly, you probably wouldn't want to download a Windows driver for your MacBook. Next, find the driver for the specific tablet model you have, in my case that would be the Intangbo X7, and click the download button. The download link will take you to Google Drive, where you will have to click the download button again. From there, you may be directed to this page. Don't be alarmed, just click download anyway. Now, this is where things can get a bit complicated if you don't know what you're doing, like me, so stay with me for the next few steps. Once the installer package has been downloaded, you may get a notification saying something to the effect of, "This file can't be opened because Apple can't scan it for malicious software." To bypass this, just go to System Settings, either through the Launchpad or through the little Apple icon on the top left of the navigation bar, and go to Privacy and Security. Somewhere above the Security section, you'll see a notification telling you that the driver couldn't be opened. You will have the option to click Open anyway. Then you'll see a short guide on how to set up the drivers for macOS, but what finally got the driver to work for me was by going to the Accessibility tab under Privacy and Security, hitting the little plus sign for both Parblo Tablet Driver and Parblo Tablet Setting. Make sure to allow access for both of these applications, as this is crucial to accessing the Settings app itself. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go to the part of the review we've all been waiting for. While working, I made sure to pick out and write down things that I wanted to address in regards to my experience with the Intangbo X7, since I have a tendency to get lost in the drawing process itself. Well, that's when I'm not spacing out. I didn't test out the tablet with my phone for reasons I will elaborate on in a second, so I will be talking about my experience using the tablet with my laptop. There are also some more universal things outside of my personal experience with this tablet that I want to disclose first, so let's get to those real quick. The Intangbo X7 is compatible with multiple drawing programs, including Clip Studio Paint, which I use. So that in itself is already a bonus. It also works with Sketchbook Pro, IBIS Paint, Photoshop, and more. However, the Intangbo X7 is not compatible with the iPhone or iPad, which I would have greatly appreciated as an iPhone user so I could have an easier time drawing on the go. And I would love a tablet that I can hook up to my phone. I don't know, maybe I should get an Android phone when this is done. The Intangbo X7 is also a bit small, as I said, but that's not a bad thing on its own. In fact, it's great to have if you're on the go and need a tablet that won't take up a lot of space. And it connects to the laptop pretty much instantly once you plug it in, so you don't have to wait a few seconds for it to boot up. Unlike other tablets that I've come upon in my tablet researching travels, the tablet's work surface can be rotated by 90, 180, and 270 degrees. Another thing that is especially beneficial if, let's say, you're left-handed or you're working on your phone and a horizontal orientation would be less than optimal in the drawing process. As I'm used to the regular tablet orientation, I didn't get the chance to experiment with this, but it's something that I want to try out later down the line. But let's move on to things that I personally experienced while working with the Intangbo X7. I started out by doing a few pen tests, and it honestly took some getting used to, as I'm very used to working with my Wacom Intuos Pro M, which I've been using since 2018, and it's considerably larger than the Intangbo X7. If you're moving from a larger workspace to a smaller one as I did for this review, it can take some getting used to. But once I got acquainted with the smaller work area and I made myself familiar with the pen settings and how the brushes worked with the tablet, I finally got to work. So for this review, I spent some time deciding on who to draw before ultimately settling on one of my characters, Teresa. I could ramble about my thought process behind the artwork, but this isn't about the process behind the piece itself so much as it is about the tablet's performance, so that is what I will be focusing on. One thing that I really liked was how easy it was to set up the tablet and shortcut keys to my liking. After installing the driver anyway. You can see that the interface in the settings application allows you to see what the different levels of pressure sensitivity look like, and you can also customize the little buttons on the pen. One of the options for the pen buttons was to switch between using the brush tool and the eraser. And you can also do something similar with the shortcut keys by setting one of them, or all of them if you want, to switch to the eraser tool. Another thing that I liked was the pen grip. The pen grip is made of silicone and has a smooth surface that's very light to the touch. The pen itself also has a stability function which prevents shaking. As I was drawing, I had to navigate my way around how the tablet's work surface responds to pressure sensitivity, since I noticed that the lines tended to balloon out once a certain threshold was reached in regards to pressure, and a small change in pressure was sometimes the difference between having thinner lines and lines that were unintentionally thick. Maybe I have a heavier hand than I realize when drawing, who knows? Or maybe I have to play around with the pressure sensitivity a bit more. Once I got used to this though, it was smooth sailing and it functions just the same as any other drawing tablet. The pen nib also glides effortlessly over the work surface, and I won't lie, it makes for some great ASMR material. However, I noticed there was occasionally a small 1-second delay when I was trying to make more precise lines, but this isn't a common occurrence, and the tablet fortunately never glitched out on me when I was drawing this piece. Then again, it might be because I use vector layers for my line art, and vector layers behave differently from raster layers, so that's another thing that will need further investigation. I also played around with the shortcut keys, and the touch wheel itself also functions as a sort of shortcut key on its own, with the button in the middle acting as a toggle between up to 6 different settings you can set for the touch wheel. But when I configured the shortcut keys, I noticed there wasn't an option to rotate the canvas using the touch wheel. Based on some other research I did in preparation for my review, at least one of Parblo's other tablet models allows for canvas rotation, but the Intangbo X7 doesn't. I do wish this option was available since it would streamline my drawing process and make things more convenient, as opposed to using the shortcut keys on my keyboard. For anyone who regularly zooms in and out while drawing, however, the touch wheel does allow you to do that. I also wish there was a double-click function for the tablet, since while I was drawing, I noticed it wasn't there. And in the 7.5 years that I've been using drawing tablets, I found that the double-click function is a very useful thing to have. If, let's say, you need to access the color settings on your drawing program, or you need to open another artwork, or really anything else you need to do that would require you to double-click on something. But moving on to the shortcut keys themselves, I found them to be very useful. You have many customization options, and one of these options was to save your work, which is a lifesaver. I was regularly using the shortcut keys on the Intangbo X7 while drawing, and the shortcut keys are great to have when you want something other than the keyboard shortcuts. Moving on to the bigger picture, I don't think you should be fooled by the fact that the tablet itself is lightweight, or by its price. Did I mention it's $60 US? It's a powerful product that functions very well. I had high hopes for the tablet's performance going into this review, and it did not disappoint. As I've said, there are some things that I wish could be improved upon, and I am still considering whether to integrate this tablet into everyday use since, again, I'm not used to the smaller work area, and I've heard that carpal tunnel can be a problem with a smaller workspace. But I think with time these things will become a non-issue, and I do want to experiment with it some more. And I don't think these things should deter you if you're a beginner in the world of drawing tablets or want an affordable option that will get the job done. I mean, I would have loved something like this when I was in high school, since during that time I had to resort to using the mouse. For its price, the Intangbo X7 features an impressive amount of customization options, accessories, and general functions that I would have only expected with tablets that are on the higher end of the price scale. And it's honestly quite the steal when you take that into consideration. Overall, it's a well-performing product with a lot of potential, and I love the fact that it could be used for a phone or a tablet, which I think makes it a great option for travel. With all of that said though, here is the finished artwork. Once again, thank you to the folks at Parblo for both the tablet and for the opportunity to review this product. I said this at the beginning of the video, but I am very grateful that I had the chance to do something like this. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this video. If you like this video and you want to see more art-related videos and shenanigans from me, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I post new videos every other Friday, usually about drawing or what have you, but sometimes I dabble in other art-related things as well. If you want to support me further, please check out my other social media accounts, as well as my Ko-fi and my Etsy shop, which are all in the description. And lastly, if you made it this far, leave a phone emoji in the comments section below. And don't forget to keep things civil in the comments. But yeah, that's about everything. Thanks for watching.